press the button.
All right. This meeting is being live streamed. All right. That's great.
Consider yourself warned.
Yeah. Welcome to the live stream, the red carpet of the live stream.
And I'm going to tweet this link at you, Hebsy, man, while you address the diehards.
Do it.
All right.
Do it. This is very exciting.
That sounds like a maniacal laugh.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Why? What do you
Our
see?
guest is tweeting now. He's tweeting, and he's the intro that I guess wrote about him or something on Twitter. I don't even remember what it was. I guess I called him a keen baseball observer, but he's disputing that.
Oh, you know what? He's trying to lower expectations.
That's good. You know what? I have to tell you something. To me, self-deprecating humor is the greatest humor. It's the most natural humor, right? You just don't want to talk about yourself, right? And what it does is anyone who's boastful or anyone who's picking on you or whatever, to be self-deprecating, to pick on yourself first before the bully gets a chance at you, is delicious when it's done well. It's I know what an idiot I am. You don't have to tell me how much you're going to beat the crap out of me, stuff like that. I know I'm a nobody, right? And pretty soon you start feeling sorry for the person, and then the bully kind of backs off. That's how it worked with me. This guy just wanted to kick the shit out of me.
All right, Hebsy, man, you got to retweet.
All right.
And I'm going to open it here so I can see the comments.
Is this a very exciting show? All right.
This is opening day, everybody. We're in our BlueJays jerseys. It's a big day.
Oh,
when we break out, and I'm breaking out my buddy Mike Kick's jersey. That's how important today is. It's called The Calm Before the Storm.
Oh, okay. For a lively.
All right, I got it open. Okay, I just want to open it up on my my other laptop so I can see real-time comments. I love to hear what the Hebsy.
If there's some good ones, let me know. If there's some good ones.
And since we haven't pressed record, we haven't started the song yet. Mike Kerr, good morning to you, and Wayne Brown, good morning to you in Lethbridge.
Morning, you guys. Appreciate it. Have you joined Bodog? Have you gone to hebsy.online/Bodog? Really would help me out, guys. So, it's going to cost you. What's it going to cost you? Nothing really. You're $25 and $25 from Bodog minimum. And if you win, fantastic. I was going to bet Tiger yesterday. I thought, because they had the score par is 72. So the odds were 2-1, right? If he was 72 or better. So par or better, you would get 2-1. That's pretty good odds. Not bad. You didn't know he could fall apart or he could have had a good round. And on that last hole, if he doesn't make the putt, he ends up being even par. Instead, he was 1 under. It was very exciting. But it was you would think there were nobody other golfers out there. I mean, I know. But every time Tiger was ready to hit, even when he wasn't ready to hit, they're on top of him.
Well, that's what I hear. But I didn't watch any of the coverage. But we will get into this because I did read a little about how it's all Tiger all the time. But it's interesting. We'll get into it. What are we at now? 8:58. Because I don't know. At some point, you're giving the people what they want, which is good, except what people want isn't always what's good for them. It's sort of a strange.
Yeah. How was your week?
It's a blur, brother. Yeah, it was good, man.
What'd you do?
Well, I'm trying to think. Nothing.
You have some guy that tweets you every day that asks what you're doing the next day.
Matt Layden. Right? Matt Layden. He's in Edmonton.
People think that's a bot, right? Every day, the same bot goes,
bot.
"Hey, Mike, what's up?" No, I'm
not
kidding.
Smart
I know it's not. Take it easy. Relax.
I have heard that.
Take it easy.
People think it's like a burner account. I'm like, no, I have better things to do. But Matt Layden in Edmonton. But I had Wilner in the backyard on Wednesday. We did a backyard episode, Mike Wilner, talking about the Jays season. And I just dropped this Joe Carter retrospective about the walk-off in 93.
Wow, you're really
Spider Jones.
Spider's great.
Spider was
the lovable one.
What's shaking about the bacon?
The lovable one.
Double shock power.
Yeah. Lovable one. Are we ready to start the show?
You got it, buddy. Let's do it.
Let's do that. Let's play the music of the Grammy Award winners.
All right.
In the most ironic Grammy of all time. Los Lobos.
Here we go.
Okay. That's the Grammy Award-winning Los Lobos with the theme, Do the Murray. Welcome to Hebsy on Sports, episode number 279. Hi, everybody. Mark Hebscher here in the Little Italy studio. Can you ride that music a bit higher there, Mike?
It's louder on the podcast than the live stream.
Sometimes it is. I can't expect you to be a great co-host and a spectacular engineer at the same time. That would be Tiger Woods-esque. Not only being able to walk, but also being able to shoot under par. But anyway, I'm Hebsy in the Little Italy studio. That's Toronto Mike manning the mothership in New Toronto. And we've got a monster show for you today. Am I the only person to say, what a great time of the year for sports? I don't think so. I was at the Raptors-Philly game last night, courtside seats. It was magic. I'll tell you about that. Playoff type atmosphere. Oh, I hope we get Philly. Oh, I really want to beat Philly. I do. Harden. Oh, God, is he a good player? He had an off night last night. Thank goodness. Embiid, a monster. Very, a lot of gesticulating, a lot of arms raised and that when your arms are stretched out going, what do I do? It kind of got that woe is me look, like I didn't do anything wrong. Anyway, Auston Matthews, 56? Are you kidding me? And the OT winner, and as gorgeous a goal as you'll ever see to win a game in overtime. What else can this guy do? Could Auston Matthews win the Masters? It seems that way, doesn't it? Meanwhile, in case you've forgotten, opening day for the BlueJays, who many believe will win the American League East this year. This bothers me. I'm very upset about this. All right. There was a time where, there weren't that many people. There's some people, and now it's like everyone is jumping on the Blue Jays bandwagon. And I don't like that. I like it better when I was like one of the only ones. Okay. You kind of feel like, like you're the big brother. Like you say, hey, I've been here for years. You just came along. But anyway, that's cool. It was like that back in the early 90s, late 80s, actually, when Sky Dome opened. Everybody jumping on the bandwagon. Everybody loves a winner. Opening day today. A lot of people just don't like opening day. It's a big deal for some, and for others, it's like, I'm going to watch it on television. I'm not going anywhere near that ballpark. I happen to be one of those people, as is our guest today, Globe and Mail writer Brad Wheeler. We'll find out what he thinks of this exciting young team, and we'll get into more baseball. Lots of baseball. We're going to just take it all in. Baseball, because it is spring. And if you haven't noticed, the azaleas and dogwoods are in full bloom at Augusta National for the Tiger Woods Open. Of course, I guess you'd call it that kind of thing. Because really, that's what it's about. I mean, nobody, like some people would be going, where do you think of Scotty Scheffler there today? Maybe a couple dozen. But when Tiger's in the field and on the leaderboard, right, in contention, it's just magic. It's people who don't know anything about golf. Hey, Tiger. Hey, Tiger play this weekend? And he's going to play the weekend. That's the other thing. The sponsors are going, this is fabulous. The Adam Seaborns of the world, our guests last week, are going, this is great, right? Because this drives numbers and advertisers go flocking, and it's a beautiful thing. By the way, tip of the hat to Joe Siddle and Dan Schulman, our friends, sports media news, involving them, award winners that they are. Talk about that as well. First, let's say hi to Toronto Mike, who had a busy week.
Hebsy, man. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How many podcasts did you do this week? Besides this one that you're doing right now, how many?
5, actually. So one every day of the week.
What are we up to now? 1,000 and what?
30. So I dropped a Joe Carter 1993 walk-off retrospective. I call these Mike-umentaries. I dropped it at about a half an hour ago, so it's
nice.
on my feed right now.
Excellent.
You spoke to Joe? I didn't speak to Joe, no.
I don't. Now here's the thing I don't understand is that, when Joe was around, he was like, everybody loved Joe. When the cameras were on, fabulous. Sure. When the cameras were off, he could be a real hard-ass guy, a real, fake. He was fake.
Oh, I see. I only know the smiley Joe I see on the
right.
TV.
And see, what I'm saying to you is that separate Joe Carter, the baseball player, versus Joe Carter, the person.
Not a nice guy.
Well, it wasn't so great to me. I thought he was a phony.
Okay,
and everyone that said, he should be in the Hall of Fame or he's one of the great Blue Jays or should have his name up in the thing. No. You could draw a parallel between Joe Carter and Paul Henderson.
Okay.
Paul's
not a good guy because Paul's.
No, not in that regard. No, not in that regard. Okay. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
About performance versus Hall of Fame.
Okay, well, that's not quite fair to Joe. Like Joe's career was better than Paul Henderson's career.
No, it's not. Okay, Joe's career was as good as Paul Henderson's career.
I think we overvalued back in those days. We overvalued the 30 home run, 100 RBI season, which he would deliver like clockwork. Like that was a guarantee. Joe was going to get 30 plus homers and he was going to get 100 plus RBIs. And then as time goes on, we sort of realized the value of that was kind of inflated at the time.
We did.
Some did. I did. Stupid Mike did. Yeah. Hey, quick question off the top. You said Los Lobos won a Grammy. Can you elaborate? Because I didn't catch that.
Yeah. So what happened was the Grammys the other night. One of the categories is Best Americana Album, which essentially is music about America by Americans, that type of thing. And Los Lobos album, their new album, Native Sons, was up against, among others, Jackson Browne's new album, right? Because the Los Lobos album, Native Sons, is about Los Angeles, about where they started their careers and the musical influences in Los Angeles. Some of the covers are like For What It's Worth, Buffalo Springfield, The World is a Ghetto by War, and a Jackson Browne song called Jamaica Say You Will. Beautiful song, which they listened to when they were starting out, and they decided to do a fabulous cover of it. Right. The irony is that Jackson Browne was in the same category as them, and they beat him out. They beat him out to win the Grammy. Wow. In large part because of one of the songs of his that they covered.
Oh, good for them. I know that's fantastic news. Shout out to Los Lobos. Hey, I want to ask you about what I saw on my TV last night, which was the back of your head, but I'll tell you that in a minute. But
How did it look, by the way? I had my hair.
Well, the hair looked great, and the guy beside you has that great flow, and it's the kind of a white color, right? Mm-hmm. So it totally sticks out on TV. It's a bit of a Buck Martinez style there. But real quick, for Blue Jay fans listening right now, Mike Wilner was in my backyard Wednesday, and we recorded a pretty good primer for the 2022 season. And I would just say, check out the Mike Wilner episode of Toronto Mic'd that's in the feed from Wednesday in my backyard. Hebsy, how the hell did you score?
Wait a minute. What about the 2022 Blue Jay primer on this show that you're a part of here?
Yeah, but people
you're in a conflict of interest.
No, because
you're in a conflict of interest.
No, because
you talked about this with Wilner on your podcast. Right. I want to talk about it on my podcast.
Yeah,
but you already talked about it with.
But how can you hear my voice right now unless you're listening to Hebsy on Sports? Like I'm only speaking to the converted.
I'm only giving you a hard time because you were the one, and I have the tape. I still have it. The tape. Yeah. Yes. Of you, basically shitting on the Raptors and wanting them to get the draft pick because you didn't think they were good enough. So that's my lead into the story of.
Okay, though the better lead in is how did you get
Bill King yesterday when I'm recording his show, his radio show.
Right.
He says to me, "What are you doing tonight?" And I go, "I got this to do, that to this." He goes, "You want to go to the Raptors game?" And of course, I'm like, "Yeah." How much are the tickets? He goes, "Free." I go, "Great." I don't ask him, and he says to me, "Want to know where they are?" I'm thinking they're pretty good. He goes, "They're on the floor." I go, "What? Against Philly? What?" So
front row.
It was not front row. There's a difference between front row and courtside.
Front row of the courtside.
No, front row would be you're behind the bench.
But
courtside is you're next to the bench.
How many rows are there on the court?
One.
Only one?
No.
I've had a couple of courtside.
Mike, you're misunderstanding me. Yeah. You know what rail seats are in hockey? The rail seats, right at the glass.
The one on the glass, yes.
That's right at the glass, not the one behind it.
But hockey's got a different, like there's only so many.
No. The rail seats are the ones on the glass. You cannot get any closer to the action. Right. That's what courtside seats are. Like I can reach out and touch Scotty Barnes when he's standing out of bounds to make to throw the ball in. Like that's the ultimate.
Yeah, there's no one in front of you except players.
Everyone has a camera going and surreptitiously, but you can't help not take pictures because you will never see these guys ever closer in your life. It was tremendous. And since the Raptors had already clinched at least sixth place in the East, these games they're not must-win games, but you want to see them win. So Bill King says to me, "Do you want to go?" And I'm like, "Oh, let's go." So we meet down there. It was fabulous.
But how did he get the tickets? Those are I
don't ask these things.
$800 a pop or something like that.
I don't ask these things, man. I'm taking him to Sioux Foley next week.
It's a fair trade.
I think it's a fair trade. Okay. I don't have front row seats, but still. So anyway, they've clinched. Bill says to me, "Let's go." Awesome. Just an amazing experience. And we're watching this team without Fred VanVleet, who's in street clothes, without OG Anunoby, who's, I don't know, man, becoming like the Nate Pearson of the George Springer, maybe of the Raptor. I don't like this injury thing. It's bothering me a lot. So the Raptors are a little thin on the bench, and they fall behind 17-2. And the sellout crowd is getting a little, and 17-2. Can't do anything. They call timeout. Nick Nurse talks to the boys a little bit. They're still trailing by like 15 for the next little while. And then the defense starts to make stops, and they start taking the ball away from Philly. And Pascal Siakam, who early on, if he's not shooting well from the outside, just says, to hell with it, I'm taking it to the tin. And that's what he did. And Gary Trent Jr., awesome. Like right in front of me, plays tough defense against James Harden. I mean, this was a great game. These are some tremendous athletes out there. To see them at that level is amazing. But Siakam is I took so many pictures of Siakam midair following up. He made a move on Embiid late in the game where he drove and looked like he was going up with the shot, and Embiid went flying up in the air. And Pascal just waited for a half a second.
Yeah.
And made a layup, man. It was a beautiful. Anyway, Pascal, 37 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists, despite going 1 for 7 from distance. Trent had 30 points, 5 of 8 from three-point land. And Precious Achiuwa, my new favorite Raptor, had 20 points, 5 of 7 from distance. And on one play, in transition, he just stopped and fired up a three-pointer. He didn't even wait for his teammates to catch up to him. He was feeling it, and like as soon as he did that, he looked over at me because he was on my side where we were, right? We're on the opposite side of the bench.
Yeah.
Right. And so he was there the whole time. And I'm telling you, like we made eye contact several times.
Wow.
He likes me. He knows, and I'm rooting for him, man. And I know, and I'm telling you, he looks right at me and he gives me a smile and like puts up like the 3-point kind of a thing. Like, I don't know if the cameras caught it or whatever. He was looking at me. He was looking at me. It might have been, they said to the story, they said, that's the guy that fucked up the parade last year. The Raptors, 2 years ago, the Raptors championship parade. That's him sitting courtside.
Hey, when you're at a courtside at a Raptor game, how many people are yelling Hebsy? Like, you must be recognized.
Because it's only the back of my head, basically. Very few people are looking me straight in the eye, except for the players on the court and maybe the ref.
Right.
That's it. And the security guard when, there's a timeout. So anyway, the best part of the game, besides the win, is sometime in the first quarter, I think it was, they have a timeout, and their timeouts are wild. Anything can happen. And ladies and gentlemen, joining us from the Toronto Blue Jays, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Alek Manoah. And they come out and they give them these, I think they're rubber. I never actually felt what they were, but they're kind of a rubbery thing. And they're like baseballs, but they're not. They're like orange colored balls or red colored balls. And here's Vlad, and they're tossing them up into the crowd, like you would throw towels up there. And Manoah's throwing like a split finger. Right? He's got the slider happening. He's throwing, and I'm thinking, the first thing I'm thinking is, geez, don't throw your arm out. That would be bad. What kind of an injury? Well, we were throwing balls into the crowd at Raptors games. Anyway, they were having so much fun. So much fun. Manoah's wearing this Jurassic Park jacket, like with Toronto. Oh man, it was the coolest thing. Apparently it's 1,500 retail. They were having so much fun. These kids at the Raptor game, just so much fun.
What a time to be alive in Toronto sports.
Yeah, it was great. And by the way, so the Raptors are at home to Houston tonight, and the Jays are playing their home opener against Texas. So if you're going downtown, parking might be an issue.
Bike.
Right. Now, it's not often that the Toronto Maple Leafs get bumped down to the second spot on this show. But that Raptors game was something. I got home in time to see the third. That's another thing about living downtown. Raptors game is over just before 10, I guess it was. I'm thinking, I don't know. Maybe even before that. But, and so Bill and I leave and we get on the subway, the University line, and we get off at Bloor, the 2 line, and we take it to Christie, and he goes north, 5-10 minute walk, and I go south, and I'm home. And it's, they're just starting a third. I'm going, great.
Amazing.
I see that third period, and the Leafs not blow the lead because they ended up winning the game, cough up a lead. And then Matthews in overtime with that goal was just, and it was 56. He had already broken Vive's record like earlier. I'm thinking there's 12 games to go. This dude could score 70.
Unreal.
He could score 70. Forget 60. He's going to get 60.
Maybe 65.
Why not 70? A 4-goal game against the Habs tomorrow night. Wouldn't that be great?
Woo.
Anyway, yeah. So he had 12 shots on goal last night. 12. The Leafs outshot the Stars 41-18, a 4-3 win in overtime. Solid second place in the Atlantic, leading the Bruins and Lightning by 5 points. However, both teams have a game in hand on the Leafs, but still, can they not beat anybody?
amazing, amazing. But we'll see what happens in playoff hockey. But I got a couple of people.
Wait.
Well, no, there's a lot of Leaf fans who
are not enjoying these games. It means nothing to you until they make the playoffs.
I'm enjoying. I was excited. I'm watching, and I'm enjoying these regular season games. But I'm also a realist who knows this doesn't matter. This doesn't amount to a hill of beans until the Leafs show some success in the playoffs. But there are multiple people on your YouTube channel watching live, and the podcast listeners. Multiple. So
I like that word.
Patrick Luongo.
Yes, Patrick.
Okay. And yeah, there's someone else up there. But bottom line is, the question is Auston Matthews the best Leaf of all time?
Well, no, he's not the best Leaf of all time because he hasn't played long enough to determine that. God forbid something should happen to Auston Matthews. God forbid. And he's remembered as this tremendous player that suffered an injury, that he's the Tony Conigliaro of the Toronto Maple Leafs, because they said the same thing about Tony Conigliaro. Is he the greatest Red Sox? Is he in the category of Ted Williams? And Yastrzemski hadn't become Yastrzemski then. So no, the answer is no. But barring any unforeseen circumstances, he's certainly on his way. I don't think you can. It's hard to determine that while the player is still playing, right? It really is. They could have said the same about Bill Barocco. Bill Barocco, the greatest playoff scorer in the history of the Toronto. Yes, of course he is. Not so fast. So, but for now, I would say, I'll put it this way. He's the most talented player, the most adept player, the most electrifying player that this franchise has ever had. With all apologies to Sil Apps. Because they told me, my grandfather used to tell me that people had never seen what Sil Apps could do with the puck at the time. He was elegant, and he was Jean Beliveau before Jean Beliveau. And so anyway, it's hard comparison, but boy, is he fun to watch. That's all I know. He is fun to watch. And when he's on the ice, he's on the ice. The opposition knows he's on the ice. It's scary. If you're a Leaf fan, it's scary fun. And that Leaf power play is lethal.
Lethal.
Yeah. So I see him score. I see him pass Rick Vive. Now Vive is like in the rearview mirror, and that'll be it for that. So we got the lead. If he scores 4 tomorrow against Montreal, if he scores 2 against Montreal tomorrow, he gets 2, because he's averaging like 2 goals a game his last little while. What if he gets the hat trick? What if they just hats all over the Scotiabank Arena? It would be great. By the way, he's also, and people aren't mentioning this because we don't care about the Americans that much. He has set the record for most goals in a season by an American-born player, 56. Mike, can you name the 2 Americans who had scored 55 goals in one season? Just tell me the first American to score 55 goals in a season.
You mean American-born, because
American-born.
Brett Hull.
Well, that's when I say American. What do you think I mean?
Well, Brett Hull is American, but he's not American-born.
What?
Yeah.
No, he's not American. He became an American citizen.
Yeah. When
I say American, I mean American-born.
Yeah, okay, I know. I'm just.
When you say Canadian, do you say Canadian-born? You mean Canadian-born?
Well, no. There's a lot of Canadians who aren't Canadian-born. Like
you're right. You're right. No, you're right. If they represent Canada, I know Donovan Bailey. Okay, got it.
Yeah, a lot of
semantics. Can you name the first American-born player to score 55 goals in a season?
Oh crap! Who's the guy from Hell's Kitchen? I can't remember.
Jimmy Carson.
Wow. Traded for
Second
Gretzky.
was Kevin Stevens. Those are the 2 guys that were 55. Matthews is at 56. Bye-bye, guys. Nice knowing you. Auston Matthews holds that record as well. So he's an American hero as well as a Toronto hero.
Yeah, I heard this on CBC Radio, and it was the first time I had heard it just this morning, that this was the record for American-born player. And I was shocked that no American-born player had scored more than 55. That's kind of
who are you thinking? Like,
no, I don't. I didn't.
Modano,
really
Keith Tkachuk, sure. Joey Mullen? Like who? Sure. Do you know who else scored 55 goals?
Joe Mullen is the Hell's Kitchen guy I was thinking of.
Yeah, Joey Mullen. Yeah. He's in the Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
There was a lot of discussion about that.
But there's some guesses going on your YouTube channel right now. But John LeClaire is a guest from Brian Gerstein. And I thought John LeClaire was Canadian. He's American? I thought he's Canadian.
I think he's from New Hampshire.
Okay. Up there. Okay, that name fools you.
Yeah. What do you think of Tiger Woods? I mean, he had a great round yesterday, 1 under par. But what do you think of all the adulation? Like the adulation of, how about this? There's the adulation of Auston Matthews. Pascal Siakam, Vladdy Guerrero, right? Bo, I mean, pick any of those guys, right? And then there's like Tiger Woods, which is like 7 levels above, 20 levels above any of these guys.
Right.
Like, what was the expression? He doesn't move the needle. He is the needle.
Yes, he is.
Is it too much? Like, is golf depending too much on this, on like the success, just the appearance of Tiger Woods? Like, could they trot him out there if he was on one leg? Say, come on, Tiger, you can do it. Or is this all like a ruse? Like, because I don't think he was close to having his leg amputated. I mean, what I read from the expert surgeons, there was never a chance that his leg, but he made it part of the narrative.
Sure.
Maybe he asked the question. Maybe he said to the doctor, will I lose the leg? And the doctor went, it was close, or something to that effect. And it made it more dramatic because he is being talked to. And I know I asked you the question, Mike, but here's they're talking about him like he's a god.
Like he rose from the dead.
Yes. Like he's a godlike figure that no other human being in history could come back, could rise from the ashes the way he has, from an injury that nearly took his leg. Like, this whole narrative, he would have never walked again. Forget about chipping and putting. And now can he walk 72 holes in 4 days, ladies and gentlemen? Can he do it? Right? Does he have the strength, the wherewithal, like a religious figure? Like they're talking about him like he's like a religious figure. It's a bit scary.
Yes, but at the same time, what a story.
Agreed. Agreed. But there are other human beings involved. You have to. I get it. But he's the needle. So if you're an advertiser and you're going, oh yeah, he's in for the whole weekend Masters. It's must see coverage. I know people. Look, I know people. Yeah. I am one of them. You try to watch. I'll try to watch all 72 holes of.
Wow.
And if they're going to show every Tiger shot.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful day outside. I know a lot of people. I don't care what kind of day it is. I'm watching Tiger. You could be playing golf on that day. I know people that, no way, man. I got to know. I'm on the course. What happened with Tiger? I'm checking my device. How did he do on 16?
It's all about Tiger for a lot of people. Now, let me ask you this, because there's some complaints from golf lovers. I should point out there's guys like me who really literally will only tune in on the weekend if Tiger's
I understand.
playing, okay?
I understand.
And then there's golf fans who are tuning in no matter what because they're there to see the Masters. Is this too much? Because I've heard complaints from golf fans that focus on the leaders and the other, competitors. Why is it all Tiger all the time? Are you giving the people what they want for idiots like me to get me because the golf fans are going to watch anyway? Or should you treat the Masters what it is and kind of fairly, like let's see some, I don't know, Dustin Johnson and some.
Absolutely not. No way, man. You go to what? If I'm sitting at home and I'm going, what's happening with Tiger? He hit his drive into the rough. What's taking so long? I know how long it takes for any golfer to walk from, well, not as far as Tiger hits it compared to me, but how long it takes to get to your ball. And then how long it takes to look at the lie, determine the win, choose a club. I get all that. They've got it down to a science there. Plus, they've got people that are, talking back to the director going, all right, he's coming to his ball now. He's 15 feet away. Okay. All right, take 2. There's Tiger. And so, but there's no other, there is no other individual in any sport, anywhere where you cover so much ground to follow literally his every step.
I agree with that. But isn't this giving the people what they want? But
here's the thing. The setup of it all is, and it all started, of course, with the tabloids when, he was attacked by his ex-wife, with the golf club, with the car. I mean, this all started so we all know about his history. We know, right? We get it. We saw the public humiliation and him apologizing, but the whole deal, his entire life basically has been, on video. And so how do you get away with it? Well, they got to show some humility. Hey, guess what? Once he showed humility, people went, you know what? I forgive him because he's such a great golfer. That's the only reason. I forgive him because he's such a great golfer. Is he a great dad? I don't know. It looks like it on TV. His kid likes golf like him, all that. It's the only reason. Think about that in the grand scheme of things as a human being, right? Has he done sensational charitable work? Has he volunteered at hospital? He's a great golfer. So let me set this up.
Yeah.
Before the tournament starts, now remember a couple of weeks ago, he said, I'm entering the tournament. Everyone, he's entering the tournament. Wow. Right? Think of the buildup to it. It's 12 months removed from almost losing his leg. Remember those pictures of the car that tumbled down the embankment? Oh my God, right? Sure, of course. How could we not? The tabloid, everything, right? So at the press conference, the disembodied voice asks Tiger Woods if he thinks he can win the Masters. This is the question. Do you think you can win the Masters? Right? Not Tiger, you're 14 months out from a terrible accident. You almost lost your leg. You haven't played a competitive round of golf in 520 days. What makes you think you can win against the best players in the world? That's how you frame the question, so that the answer isn't going to be, yes, I can win. The answer is going to be, well, that's a good question, or not even, well, he's going to think about this. He's not just going to give your standard Tiger answer, and this is what I want to hear in his mind, because I want to know if he really thinks that he's going to be able to walk 18 holes after that. I want to hear his thoughts on that. And I want to hear him refer to other players in the field being really good golfers and, easily said than done. And I'm playing the golf course. I'm not playing Justin Thomas. I'm playing the golf course where I've won before. That's what I want to hear. Not, do you think you can win? Yeah. No, I think I can finish in a tie for 27th. Fucking stupid questions. I hate those questions. I also hate the way the television networks will edit such so that they'll just give you that answer. And then later you'll see the whole press conference. And that particular question was part of a long series of questions. So context, I want context as well.
Yeah, but how TV is made more.
Right. But just the way they aired that was, they just took that little snippet.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. Do you think you can win? And he went, yeah, I can win.
You've upset a big Hebsy fan named Craig Miller on your YouTube channel that you're
really
only having the audacity to bash. Yeah, well, one person right now that he can't believe that you're bashing Tiger right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not bashing Tiger. What I'm doing is I'm telling you that this whole thing about the amputated leg bullshit is bullshit.
Yeah.
Many medical experts, and I'll give you their names, okay, who know the type of surgery that was done and all that. There was never going to be any possibility of amputation. Now, that's a serious one, okay? That's a real good thing to put on your resume. Almost had leg amputated, survived, came back, won the Masters. That's fucking huge. So, okay? We know that Ben Hogan almost died when his car got hit by a bus, and he came back and won by walking 36 holes on the final day to win the U.S. Open. We know that. So just, Tiger, your legacy is good, but, and I'm rooting for you to play well. Don't get me wrong, but he's a drama king. No, he is.
I'm no Adam Seaborn here, but I would guess that if there's no Tiger on Sunday, I'm guessing you get like 10 million.
Well, there is Tiger on Sunday. There will be, unless he shoots 87 today.
Okay.
There will be.
But yeah, with a Tiger on Sunday, I think you could be looking at 25 million watching this golf.
Man, it could be. Huge, massive.
So what a difference that is. Like, and it's all this one guy. And you're right. I can't think of any other equivalent in the world of sports.
There you go. This is, and he shot a 100 par 71, and he played beautifully. Man, he scrambled beautifully. He was like the Tiger of old, sort of, but you could see the odd wince, and that's the other thing. That wince, the announcers go, "Oh my, he's hurt. Look at that wince. He can't put the weight on his back leg." So this is an ongoing soap opera, and it's very exciting, and I'll watch every single second of it all weekend long. Every single second. By the way, other Canadians in the field, Mackenzie Hughes shot a 1/73. Former Masters champ Mike Weir shot 74. And at this right now, like, there's golfers on the course. I'm not even gonna. It's very exciting. It'll be very, very exciting. All right, before we get to our guests, who, by the way, will be the cleanest guest we've ever had.
Wow.
I've talked from a hygiene standpoint. I guarantee that.
That's saying something.
It is. I want you to know. Did you notice that there's like 1,000 gambling sites now? It's wide open, baby.
I did notice this.
Wide open. Every one of your favorite B-list personalities, including me, are out there. Hockey. Anyway, I'm a Bow Dog guy. You know that. Listen, help out the show. Help me out. Win a free T-shirt, limited edition. Hebsy, can I show it there?
Oh, Gene Velitis wants to know when he's getting that great T-shirt.
You'll get everything that's coming to him. Everything that's did he register? Anyway, do me a favor. Go to hebsy.online/Bowdog. Sign up for as little as $25 up to $200, and they'll match. Bowdog will match your deposit. Or it's like you're playing with house money. And then make a play and help out Hebsy. That would be wonderful. Hebsy.online/Bowdog. Now, Our guest receives from NateMakesSoap.com. All right. A fabulous collection of Nate's phenomenal soaps. It could be eucalyptus mint, could be bourbon tobacco, could be lavender. I know that Mike loves the stuff and smells really, really good. So, check it out. Go to NateMakesSoap.com. Use the code Hebsy20 for 20% off your first order. And by the way, we've set up a partnership with the good people at GoodfootDelivery.com. Goodfoot Delivery is a Toronto courier service that provides meaningful employment to the neurodiverse and developmentally disabled community. They picked up our T-shirts from the printer, delivered them here, took some pictures with them. Yeah, really good.
Great idea.
If you've got a business too or a service where you need a local courier service, these people do a terrific job. They walk or they take public transit to get your package to you, and for as little as $4. So go to goodfootdelivery.com. The code Hebsy50 will give you 50% off your first order. Okay. And there we go. So it's opening day baseball. So opening day, by the way, is capitalized. It's opening and day is capitalized. It is a big deal. And it shows, and I guess it has for decades, over a century. It's the sign that spring is here. We don't play baseball in the snow. We're not supposed to anyway. And at this time of year, the flowers are blooming, the grass is getting greener, just the beauty of baseball. It really is a very romantic sport. And do we have our guest with us, by the way? Is he here?
You don't see him?
Oh, I'm not. Am I looking for him? Okay, there he is.
You got to hit your view and make sure you're looking at.
Why do I have to do that? I'm doing a podcast here. All I need is the thumbs up or the thumbs there.
Sitting.
Okay, all right. Take it easy.
He looks great.
Good. Joining us on the show now, a man who might be a bigger baseball fan than me. And that's saying a lot. He's an entertainment writer for the Globe and Mail. He's very active on Twitter. And originally hailing from Clifton Springs, New York, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Brad Wheeler. Two-person clap there, Brad. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for that introduction.
You're
nice
welcome.
Shout out to Clifton Springs.
Clifton Springs. Whereabouts is that?
It's outside of Rochester in the Finger Lakes. So it's right across the lake.
So Rochester, right? Not Rochester. It's Rochester. Isn't that how they say it?
I don't think so.
I do. Oh, come on. I've been to Rochester enough times. People from Rochester say Rochester. They don't say Rochester. You're from Clifton Springs, though, so that's different.
Yeah. Whole different thing.
All right. So how did you become a baseball fan in Clifton Springs, New York?
Well, I was thinking about this, and, my father's generation, I think that everybody were Yankee fans and New York Giant fans for football and Knicks fans, even though we weren't really connected to New York City. It was a whole world away.
How far from New York City is Clifton Springs?
Oh, it's probably a 7-hour drive or 6-hour drive. Maybe not that long. It's at the opposite corner of the state.
Right.
Anyways, and I was thinking about all my friends growing up, and nobody was a Yankee fan. So, and we didn't get a lot of games on TV, as you know, in the 70s. We had a weekend game and maybe a Monday night game. So there was no connection to any team. So all my friends had different fandoms. They were fans of the Oakland A's and the St. Louis Cardinals or whatever. And I was a Pittsburgh Pirate fan growing up. And you think of those players, the Dave Parkers, the Al Olivers, the Willie Stargells, those uniforms. I love the uniforms. I think that's what turned you on as a kid a lot. And I liked that black and gold and yellow. And yeah, I was a big Pirate fan until I ended up in Canada.
Wait. How did you ended up in Canada? What'd you do? Dodge the draft? What happened there? No, you're too young for that. Wait, Clifton Springs, New York, and I ended up in Canada.
Well, it's not too far away. My father got transferred to Belleville, Ontario.
What kind of business was your dad in?
He was an engineer with Mobile Chemical.
So Belleville, right? So you went to high school in Belleville?
Couple of years, yeah.
Where'd you go? Moira, Quinty? Where'd you go?
Centennial.
Oh, Centennial. Of course, I should have said that would have been my first guess.
There you go.
Or Eastgate, I guess is the other one there, right?
No,
whatever. Anyway, so Belleville. So now you are still a Pittsburgh Pirate fan. You're following baseball differently now, obviously.
I gradually moved away from the Pirates to the Jays. It was a gradual
good
thing.
move. Real good move.
Yeah, as it turns out. Yeah. The Jays were a young team that was, a few years later after I moved there when I was in university. They had the Mosbys and the Bells and the Barfields in the outfield and Dave Stieb. And it was an up and coming team. And I just kind of latched onto them. I just started rooting for them. I kind of felt sorry for them at first because they were quite bad. But I saw these young guys, and you could see the talent, and look what happened. And then I remember '85. By '85, I was a diehard fan, and that was a crushing year, the playoffs that year. But
oh yeah, but the success leading up to it was magical, was wonderful. I mean, sure, losing to KC, that Jim Sundberg windblown trip. Yeah, all that whole is a terrible. Mike, help me out on this.
I was going to say though,
you'll
Brad,
never lose those scars, right?
You must have loved the fact that Scoop was here. He was a big contributor down the stretch there too, Al Oliver.
Oh yes, a big fan of his, and character. Yeah, I still have fond memories of all those old Pirates, and it was nice to have a little blast from the past on that Blue Jays.
If I go pull up, I have a scrapbook. I was cutting out all the stuff during the drive of '85. That's what the Toronto Star was calling it. And then, and then I remember Al Oliver had some absolutely massive at bats. Like when we're talking, we were up 3-1 in that series as
game winner in game 2.
Yeah,
base hit to win the game in the 10th inning, I think.
And I did not remember him from the Pirates because I'm a titch younger. But
are you nuts? He was awesome.
I know. Well, you can't remember what you don't remember. I remembered him as a Montreal Expo. Like, didn't he win the batting title with the Expos before he came to Toronto? That's how I remembered him on a baseball card winning the batting title. Like, anyway, Al Oliver, shout out to Scoop.
There you go.
And I love that ball team too. But yeah, we blew that 3-1. And can I swear on this show? Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck George Brett. That's all I want to say. Guy was amazing.
He was the most feared for sure. Following the Jays, when Brett was coming up, you were better off to walk him. You were just better off. But the Jays had pitchers like Dave Stieb who didn't like to do that. He wanted to challenge him. That's a whole other story. How many, Brad, so you're a fan. So were you ever a beat writer, or did you write baseball, or were you a sports writer ever? Or have you always been entertainment or general assignment writer?
Okay, so I never went to journalism school.
What?
The only journalism experience I had was my final semester. So it would have been my 4th year university. Last semester, I covered the hockey team I went to Brockport State University in New York.
Brockport State.
Brockport.
Got it.
State University of New York. They have a lot of small.
Yes, I know. SUNY Brockport. I know. Good lacrosse team there.
Yes. And I decided, well, it'd be fun to cover the hockey team, and which I did, and maybe wrote 5 or 6 stories, and that was it. Started working with the Globe and Mail in the mailroom, literally the mailroom. 1988, maybe 89.
Okay, 88, 89. So the sports writers, so the Globe had like a ton of sports writers, some really good sports writers at that time when you were working in the mailroom. Tell me.
Into the 90s, they really put together a good team with Brunt and Blair, and a little later, Michael Grange on basketball.
Right.
It was an elite crew. I thought it was one of the best sports sections in North America.
Oh, it was. And before that, even, I mean, you had Al Strachan writing the Globe. You had the controversial Marty York in the Globe and Mail, who set the paper back a few hundred years with some of his antics there. Mike, who else were we in the Globe in those days?
Dave Schultz. Bill
Schultz, of course. How could I forget?
Schultz.
Terrible. Bob McLeod, Robert McLeod was writing there too.
Marty York tweeted the other day that this Blue Jays team is going to win 71 games. He tweeted.
Well, that's Marty York, though. He's got his own issues.
Well, let me tell you something about Marty York. So I was in the mail room, and then I went to the editorial section as a copy messenger. Can't say, I mean, that job doesn't even really exist anymore. But Marty York didn't work at the office, and he would come in maybe once every few months to get supplies, pens, whatever. And he had a guy that he knew, one of the other copy messengers that he relied on. And I had never met him, so the other copy messenger wasn't there, and he came over to my desk, and he was very meek, and surprisingly, and he needed some supplies. And I said, oh, here's the key to the cabinet. It's right over there. And he wouldn't go. He said, well, I usually get the other guy to get it for me. And I go, well, he's not here. He goes, can you get it for me? And I said, here's the key. Go over there. It's right there. Get whatever, take whatever you want. So he was kind of an odd little figure. And come in.
Right. I love Marty York stories.
Oh my God, Marty York. Yeah, go on.
Sometimes he'd go into the sports editor's office, Dave Langford, who was a long time.
I know Dave. Dave's in London. He's on Twitter. I communicate with him all the time. Yeah.
The door would close, and you'd hear a lot of yelling going on.
Between Dave Langford and Marty York, boy,
that was mostly Dave doing the yelling.
Because Marty would call games from the hotel room, right? Like he'd. Anyway.
Okay, let's not. Anyway. Okay. Quite the character.
Next
yeah.
Week. We'll get Marty on
listen, the Globe. I'm sure. Listen, Brad. I'm sure if we asked, you'd have a great story about like a number of people at the Globe Mail. There's some real characters there. We'll save that for another time when you come on. Let's talk baseball. It's opening day. I'm the type of a guy who I'll go to every game but opening day, because the Yahoos go to opening day. The people who want to be seen go to opening day. The game's a 4-hour game. At least one person's going to try to run on the field, all the ceremonies and all that. I'd much rather watch it on TV. How about you?
I used to go to every home opener. And for all the reasons that you just laid out, I stopped going. And as you know, a few years ago, they started having restrictions on alcohol consumption.
Yeah,
because of that. So, and now, for all those reasons that you said, and I'm a little COVID shy, and I don't want to be around a lot of people. And so it just seems like, I mean, it wasn't even a thought to go to the game this year.
Right. Now,
I'll go this weekend.
We had discussed, I guess probably back in the fall, as to whether you were going to go. I know I was going to go to spring training to Dunedin. I used to go every year to cover the Blue Jays starting in 1978, every year. And I saw Dunedin grow from a teeny little town with to like, a real thriving, not metropolis, but getting there. And this was the first time in how many years that you didn't go to spring training?
I went to right before the pandemic kicked in. I got to go that year. So that was 2 seasons ago.
Right, 2020, yeah.
So before that, I'd been to 15 in a row, I think, 15 or 16. And so the last two, I did not go. And I have to say, I remember we did talk about going.
Yeah.
I encouraged you to go because I said, because I love Dunedin. It's my favorite. I mean, I'm a Jays fan, obviously, right. But even if I wasn't, Dunedin is the best place to go, I feel. I've been to a lot of different places.
Yeah, it's great.
So I was encouraging you to go, and then I didn't go.
And then you didn't go. We went, you didn't go. And you were smart because I had tickets for all the exhibition games, like 5, Richard Griffin, the PR guy. And he said, yeah. And he told me where to get the seats. And I got seats to like 5 games, and every one of them were canceled. And the day we left to go home was the day they started playing again. It was
I felt so bad for you because I felt I'd encouraged you.
You had. It was your fault. It was your fault. That's right.
And I even told you which restaurant to go, and you ended up going to the restaurant and you couldn't get a seat.
Packed. It's like, do me a favor next time. People shouldn't know about the best places. Like someone says, oh, there's this great. I said, look, if I tell you about it, I'm not going to be able to get a seat there because I told folks about it. So I like to keep it a secret.
You sound like Yogi Berra. What did Yogi Berra say? Nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded.
Correct. Excellent. That was excellent interjection there, Mike. That was perfect. Perfect. And it leads me now to the 2022 Toronto Blue Jays. So, Brad, now everybody is on the Blue Jay bandwagon. Everyone thinks the Blue Jays are now going to win the American League East, joining all of us. So, is it hard not to just be giddy to witness every time whoever's pitching goes out there or whoever steps up to the plate is capable of doing great things? It's almost like it's hard to pick a favorite player, and wouldn't surprise me if Lourdes Gurriel Jr. was the MVP or Springer was the MVP, or, and I don't know, Kirk gets 200 hits this season. I have no idea.
Well, I have to say, my expectations, I've been hurt by the Twitter for whatever reason. I'm getting a feed. I don't follow these people, but I guess the algorithms bring these people to me, of all these nerdy fanboys and all their silly trades and proposals for Jose Ramirez.
Ridiculous.
They want to give up mid-level prospects they like giving away, I noticed.
No, Kevin Biggio straight up for Jose Ramirez and maybe a couple of, right? Sure, they'll make that deal, Cleveland, I'm sure.
It's starting to turn me off a bit.
All right.
And so their giddiness has turned me the other way. But yes, my brain can tell me that the Jays should be the odds-on favorite to win the division.
Okay, having mentioned that, and Mike's going to back me on this one. The problem with Twitter is when you're on there and someone who supposedly is an authority or in the know or is a journalist sends something out on their account, which has thousands of followers, that the Blue Jays have acquired so-and-so or are going to hire so-and-so. And we get these mixed messages and we find out it's not true. We're not getting Michael Brantley from Houston, despite what everybody said. Is this a bad thing for real journalists? Or have we now completely blurred the line where some guy sitting in a barber's chair is going to tell us that George Springer is signing with the Jays?
Well, I guess it's competitive, more competitive than ever to get these scoops, to be the first on these things. But I can't say that I've noticed that the actual beat writers and authorities spread too many rumors. I don't know. I mean, that would be
no. I'm not saying it, but when it happens and it's wrong, it looks bad for everybody in the industry. Because you're trying to get it first. Because you know as well as I do on your Twitter feed, when the Jays make it, or any team makes an acquisition, everybody that you follow within 15 seconds of each other tweets it out. And so if one person tweets out that the Blue Jays have, an authoritative person tweets out that the Blue Jays have signed Michael Brantley per source, per Blue Jay source or whatever it is, and then it's not true, well, what record now? What do? Do we have to go back to old style journalism and make sure you have more than one source? Is that an impeccable source? Or is it not that important if you told a story and it didn't come true? Is it not that big a deal if someone says this trade is happening and it doesn't happen?
I think it is a big deal. I think professional journalists with an established name behind them, whether it's the Globe and Mail or ESPN or whatever, yeah, I think they have to be careful with that, because then they'll just be lumped in with the Twitter mob, and there will be no authoritative source. You know, all newspapers dealt with that when everything went online, because everything is quicker, and there's this race to get things on, and we had to take a step back to verify things, and because who knows who's putting these things online and who's spreading these rumors. And I guess it's kind of fun, but it's serious though. Oops, I actually have a landline phone.
Okay.
That's why it's so loud and it's an old rotary dial phone.
You want to bring it out and show the
I think
show
it's
the viewers?
Hazel May on the phone. She wants to tell Hebsy to back off.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Well, no, hang on a second. So yeah, it was Hazel. Okay. And I like Hazel personally, but I think when you're a presenter and then you try to become a more than a presenter, you're dipping your toe into some water that you may not be familiar with. So it's real easy to be able to say, sidle up to someone or have them go, we're signing Michael Brantley. And you go, this person's never done me wrong. I think I'm going to go with this and become a reporter now, not the person that's asking the post-game questions or sitting on the desk or, whatever that's scripted. This is a little different story. And she got burned. But what happened is that the Ken Rosenthals of the world, also who follow Hazel, took that story and ran with it. And that's where the problem was. There was no apology. There was no, this won't happen again. I don't know if she got her wrist slapped by the people at Rogers, but I found that to be very distasteful that it wasn't addressed, because a lot of people saw that and went, whoa, we're getting Michael Brantley. And wasn't true. So
she apologized, no?
No.
Not even a tweet?
Nope, nothing. Swept under the rug. People forgot about it.
You'll never forget.
I'm giving you an example. And I'll bet you.
I'm on Twitter. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll bet you it was a cautionary tale for every single reporter, quote unquote, out there that tweets out whether something happened, whether it did or didn't. They better check their sources and make sure that they've got two independent sources.
That's the key there. I'll just say, as a frequent Twitterer, and it's the only social media I actually enjoy, and I'm on it often all day long, I will say those incidents like you're describing with Hazel, which was a couple years ago, few and far between. I will say the people I trust in to cover baseball, very, very rarely do they make a misstep like that. So you just got to check who's doing the tweeting and can you trust the source. And the worst case, and this is not war in Ukraine, right? Like the worst case scenario is for a few minutes you thought you were getting a player and you didn't get that player. Like that's sort of a small.
Stop excusing it, Mike.
Shout out to Hazel May.
Mike, you wouldn't do it, and if you did, if you spread misinformation, you would immediately retract it and apologize. You would.
You're right.
Brad would do the same thing, and so would I.
You're right.
Now, Brad, 3 things this year in baseball. Okay, this pitch comm system. Catchers are now able to relay signs electronically. What's your take on that?
I was just watching that last night, and my question about that is, when the catcher gives the signal, presses a button, it goes to the headphone of the pitcher. Now, can he still shake it off? Is he still allowed to shake it off?
I hope so.
Sure. Yeah, so that would be a manual shake off, right?
Or does he have a button to press? You're right. The pitcher can't show any gesticulation of any kind to agree or disagree, right?
I hope it doesn't ruin those kind of awkward moments between the catcher and the pitcher. But I think it's the whole stealing signs. I guess that's part of the game. I don't necessarily think it's a good part of the game. So
I agree.
No, I think that I'm okay with that.
All right. The ghost runner. You still like this idea?
What I don't like is you calling it a ghost runner.
All right. I'm sorry. That's what they're calling it. What do you like to call it? Oh, you haven't got an alternative? You got to have an alternative to ghost runner, or I'm sorry, Brad. Come on. What are we calling it?
Somebody on Twitter, because I've been ranting about this on Twitter.
I know, but you got to come up with a solution.
Somebody suggested a zombie runner.
Okay.
I'll go with that, because a zombie is real. A ghost is not.
Okay. What do you think of the zombie runner?
I guess I'm okay with it. I've always considered myself a traditionalist, but certainly don't want that in a playoffs.
No.
It's not
regular season only, like a shootout in hockey.
Yeah. I think you should go.
I hate the shootout.
No, that's terrible. I think you should go a couple more innings before you use the zombie runner.
I'm okay with it.
I don't mind the 10th or the 11th. I think after 11 innings. Right. Because to me, it's virtually the same as in hockey, where if nothing is solved in the 5-minute overtime, we go to the shootout. So ghost runner is like the shootout. So, OK, fine. And finally, the universal DH.
I think I liked it the way it was. DH in one league, pitchers hit in the other league.
Come on, really?
Yeah, sorry.
What was it about pitchers hitting and the strategy of the National League that was so, I guess I know I talked to a lot of Expos fans, and that's the only game they knew. They grew up only with National League baseball. When they saw the American League, they thought it was fucked up. Harmon Killebrew with the Kansas City Royals wearing powder blue. What the hell? Why is he still playing? Well, he's a DH. And suddenly ball players could play into their 40s. Knuckleball pitchers and DHs.
Mark, that's exactly why I think I like the designated hitter. That I remember in the 70s that Orlando Cepeda could get a couple extra seasons.
Yeah, for the Red Sox. Yeah, man.
I'm all for that.
All right.
But I'm a traditionalist, so I'm okay with the small ball pitchers hitting as well. So why not have both? It's the best of both worlds.
You know that ghost runner that we might call zombie runner now, Tyler Campbell on the YouTube channel says you should call it the Manfred Man.
The Manfred Man? I wouldn't make any reference to Rob Manfred at all. Not at all in this game. He should have nothing to do with it. It'd be like calling, a Kuhn ball for Bowie Kuhn back in those days. He voided a trade one time. Hey, Brad, you know that story where he voided that Vita Blue trade to the Reds?
Yes.
The commissioner voided the trade. Just like what's his name did. Adam Silver voided that trade with the Lakers. Like, I don't understand how they could do that. I would have loved to have seen Vita Blue pitching for the Reds.
Before Brad goes, make sure we get a prediction on number of wins this Blue Jay team can get in 2022.
There you go, Brad. How many?
About 94.
Yeah, I feel that's good. I feel the same.
91 last year, 94 wins.
Possibly 95, 96.
Well, listen, in that division, 94 wins is pretty good. I'll go with 95 wins this year. Yeah. I think it's going to be great. Hey, listen, Brad, it was fabulous having you on talking baseball. You are as nerdy as I am when it comes to the sport. I love you for it.
Is there time for one more from me? Just because I've noticed
there is, Mike.
I talk to a lot of sports people, and they have this great passion for music. Okay, and then I talk to a lot of music people, and they have this great passion for sports. And I find myself major passion for both as well. It's interesting the parallels in the passion sensory part of your heart towards music and sports. Quite the parallel. So I guess my question is, if you had to choose one, you could only have one in your life, music or sports, which would you choose?
Wow. I
like Sophie's choice.
I can't imagine going without sports, to be honest. I mean, I can't imagine both, but I think I would go with sports.
I would too. Same question.
I would too, Mike. And here's why. I could probably make my own music if I wanted to, to satisfy some of that urge, I guess. But you're basically saying to me, you never knew anything about music. You only had sports. So it's really a question you would have to ponder. And, I'm not sure I want to. Well, it's an odd one, Mike.
Well, so many of us.
If you could only have your left index finger or your right big toe, which come on.
Okay, but I could.
It's a good question.
Anyway, just curious because a lot, music and sports, especially with Brad Wheeler here. Come on, what a legend!
Legendary, and I think the music sports thing is universal. I think just about all musicians that I know love some sports when it happens. And because there's a parallel, first of all, you work in front of large crowds. You're recognized. You work nights, right? You have a certain, respect for what the other one does, professional traveling all over the place and, all that adulation, et cetera, et cetera. So it's great. It's it's a cool thing. Hey, Brad, thanks again for joining us. Enjoy the game. We'll talk again. Baseball is a beautiful thing. I can hardly wait for the season to begin for the Blue Jays. And I look forward to reading your tweets and staying in touch.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
All right. That's Brad Wheeler, entertainment writer for the Globe and Mail. And a great Marty York story there, too. But, next time we have him on, I got to get some other, story. When you work in the mailroom, I guess, you look at people a little differently, eh? Marty York wouldn't go into the closet. How about that?
Shout out to the Globe and Mail for continuing to employ that man, because I guess you've noticed what's happened to people with similar positions, be it Ben Rayner, you name it. These guys are gone now because papers aren't investing in entertainment. They're kind of buying wire service stuff. But you need a great local music writer for your paper, in my humble opinion.
I agree. Yeah, shout out to the Canadian Screen Awards. Joe Siddle won Best Sports Analyst, and Dan Schulman won Best Play-by-Play Announcer at the Canadian Screen Awards. I had breakfast twice last week with Dan Schulman's father-in-law. He didn't know it, though. I was sitting at a nearby table in the local neighborhood. And Dan Schulman's father-in-law wears an LA Dodgers baseball cap. And so I'm like, I felt like going over and knocking it off his head for two reasons. One is, you're in Toronto, buddy. This is Blue Jay country. But I can understand, okay. But number two is, Dan Schulman's your son-in-law. Show some respect. Okay? Man, it's the Toronto Blue Jays announcer. Okay? I mean, if he had an ESPN hat on, all right, fine. Right? Or maybe he just doesn't give a shit. I don't know. I found it to be odd.
Maybe he's just a Dodgers fan.
But if I said to you, okay, which is fine. Okay, that's fine.
Remember, the Jays show up in 77, right?
But if I said, that's fine. But he lives in Toronto.
Still, a lot of people held on. I know there's Tiger fans on my street, and it's like,
Tiger, that's different. Anyway, I just, look, if I said to you,
maybe it's Brooklyn Dodgers.
If I said to you, guess what? I saw Dan Schulman's father-in-law the other day. What baseball cap do you think he was wearing?
Yeah, I'd guess the Jays.
Yeah, okay. All right, so listen, two of sports' worst playoff droughts continue now that the Sacramento Kings and Buffalo Sabres have been eliminated from any possible playoffs. So if I said to you, the longest playoff droughts of all time in the NBA, you would say the Kings, 16 years in a row, haven't been in the playoffs since 2007.
Wow.
So that's correct.
Wow.
The Sacramento Kings have not made the playoffs since 2007. If I said to you, the NHL, longest playoff drought, Buffalo Sabres, 11 consecutive seasons now without making the playoffs. 11. And it's pretty easy to make the playoffs in the NHL, really.
I think Mike Pecker was on that team. That's a long time ago, right? 11 seasons. Wow.
Major League Baseball, the record. Think about this. This team did not make now Major Baseball, remember, it was you either won the American League pennant or there was none of this wild card stuff, right? The St. Louis Browns went 41 seasons from 1903 to 1944 without winning a pennant, basically. Because that's the only way to get into the playoffs in those days. They never won.
Only two teams made the playoffs back then, right?
That's right. In the NFL, the Washington Redskins, all right? And I'm sorry to use that name, but that's what they were called between 1946 and 1970. And the Chicago/St. Louis Cardinals. That's right. The Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals, originated in Chicago. 25 seasons without winning or making the playoffs, which again, in those days was you either won the East or you won the West and you went to the Super Bowl or the NFL championship or whatever the hell it was. So there you go. Longest drought.
Those are fun facts.
So if you're a Buffalo Sabres fan, man, I feel for you. And I feel for you doubly if you're just a Buffalo sports fan, because I am as well. I mean, not the Sabres because I'm a Leafs fan, but the Bills. And before that, I was a Buffalo Braves fan, and I love Canisius and Niagara and St. Bonaventure. You notice Brad Wheeler's got that Western New York accent still, right? Almost like your super taps friendly markets. The real hard Western New York accent, right? A hard one.
Tonawanda. What is that name of that place?
Tonawanda. It's Tonawanda.
Would you know where your children are? It's 11 o'clock.
That was Irv Weinstein, Channel 7 Eyewitness News. That's great stuff. All right. That's it for Buffalo. That's it for the show today. Thanks so much for joining us. Episode 279 of Hebsy on Sports is in the books. Thanks, as always, to our friend Toronto Mike for production and inspiration. Take the weekend off, buddy. Take the weekend off. You can hit him up at Toronto Mike. New podcast, man, almost every day now as he makes his way towards
5 big ones in the can. But check out that Mike-umentary on the Joe Carter Blast. And then the Mike Wilner in the Backyard for Wednesday is a great primer for the 2022.
I've got them on my list, man. In between shots of Tiger Woods.
Jones.
And Spider Jones. In between Tiger Woods shots at the Masters, I'll be flipping over to all of those podcasts this weekend. Thanks as well to Scott Allen for his executive production skills. Thanks to our sponsors, NateMakesSoap.com, GoodFootDelivery.com. If you go to NateMakesSoap.com and you put in the code Hebsy20, you get 20% off your first order. If you go to GoodFootDelivery.com and punch in the code Hebsy50, you get 50% off. Do it. And go to Bodog. Also, hey, listen, help me out. Hebsy.online/Bodog. Register there. Let me wet my whistle. You can put up to $200 in the account and Bodog will match that amount. Okay. Have fun, make a play, help out your buddy. Back with another episode next week when our guest will be the esteemed hockey writer and broadcaster, Scott Morrison. Thanks for allowing us into your headspace. Until next week, so long for now.